Mic checks are always the worst.
The SNL skit with the sweaty balls and
I don't know if I've seen it. Well, I don't watch a lot of it.
the way they
These
talk
are delicious
on NPR.
sweaty balls.
It's a really good holiday treat.
No.
Because of the setup, I just really want to NPR talk with you guys, and it's just such a lovely time to be here. And this is a magical.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
We can do that. Who's my favorite? Ira Glass. Is that who does This American Life?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's so
good.
awesome.
It is good.
You can only be jealous. You can make fun of it, but you have to be jealous at the exact same time for Ira.
Oh.
Okay. I like it. No red lines for a couple seconds. Hey everybody, welcome to This Probably Doesn't Matter. I am Luke Atkinson. Sitting with me as usual is my lovely wife Katie.
Hello.
Hi Katie. And joining us is how you say that. Today is Michael Lee Miller. Can I do the middle name? Is
Yes.
that it's all part of it?
Yes, please.
It's supposed to be Michael Lee Miller,
Yes.
local comedian extraordinaire and author of her book I Should Have Worn Panties. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
For being here.
I'm thrilled. I'm a big fan of This Probably Doesn't Matter.
Ow!
Available on Spotify.
Yeah, it's around.
iTunes, YouTube, you name it.
It's on YouTube.
Oh,
yeah, it's on YouTube. They're
We're
all
on all
on
of them.
YouTube.
Oh, that's exciting.
I think the only one, and it's probably just me being lazy, but SoundCloud cut me off really early on like a storage issue, which I get that they're usually like hour-long things, but I don't know why they cut me off so quick. Like within the first month or two of us posting this, it said I was out of storage.
Do a lot of people go to SoundCloud? Like, I don't
The
know.
teens do.
The teens.
Yeah, my kids are huge into SoundCloud. I get a lot of really shitty rapper SoundCloud links.
Nice.
What's that through? Like Google, iTunes? It's
I
just
think
its
it's their
own
own.
thing.
I think it's their own
It's their-
platform.
yeah,
it's
their
SoundCloud.
platform.
Gotcha.
And, yes.
That is where people put their
shitty rap.
yes. Okay.
And bad poetry. Yes.
Oh.
I wouldn't know.
Wow.
How old are your kids?
I have 3 children.
Okay.
I have an 18-year-old who I guess is technically not a child. And
Right.
Is,
Still your child.
Definitely
Come
the
on.
most immature. I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Okay.
All
Okay.
boys or?
All boys, yes.
Okay.
Yes. My oldest is trans. So my new son was my daughter, now my son. And now I have 3 sons.
Okay.
Wow.
You were meant to have all boys.
And yes, viewing audience, you cannot see this, but this is the girliest girl ever to sit at this microphone, I imagine.
Hot pink hair with purple tips, pearly necklace.
That's tips, not tits.
No.
yeah,
we don't-
no, tips. Got
Just
it.
for the record, the tits are regular colored.
It's the
Yes.
regular
But
tits.
my doctor had them tested. It's fine.
Oh, okay. That's an important one, definitely. Yeah.
There you go.
I have my doctor check my tits every time I go in. Usually.
Well, I did too, but usually for lumps, just making sure they're all
Right,
clear, you
yeah.
know. But whatever.
It's just self-care.
Exactly.
Is there a men's risk of breast cancer? There's got to be some, right?
Have you not seen Fight Club?
Oh, yes, I have. Actually, in my top 5, yes, I remember. I've
It's
never
all fatty
done.
tissue. It's all the same thing.
I haven't done steroids
Sorry, Annie, I
like
didn't mean
that.
to
Phil.
I don't know what the percentages are, but yes, there is absolutely
Okay.
risk.
Well,
and,
hey.
and I believe it doesn't even have to do with like size. I don't think like
They don't have to
no.
be big
You're
hangers
like,
like mine.
yours are fine.
Reasonable
You are
hangers.
the
Yeah.
epitome of masculinity.
Hey,
But look at
Ladies
women
and
with breast
gentlemen, you heard it
cancer.
here.
They're of all sizes.
All sizes.
Yeah,
I don't
it
think
doesn't matter.
matters. It's just this is our PSA that no matter your gender, you need to be doing regular self
feel up your tits.
Yep. Fill them up.
Often,
I feel mine all the time.
you know, recreationally. Oh, dog.
It's okay. It's
Gosh.
okay.
Don't mind our dog.
We don't
Loving
have
on
anything
Michael.
for him to chew on. Cash, stop. We'll see if that holds at all.
He's kind of a nut job.
He's again for those of you who aren't here. It's a beautiful black lab mixed dog who is obsessed with smelling me.
It's
He's
it's
obsessed
the
with
dog.
everything.
When I first got him, I took him on a large group camping trip where he spent 36 hours trying to hump another black dog of some mutt, but it was always on the wrong side of it. It was if you were to just like take compass points, it was northeast east and west, and it was never south that he made his attempt at. So I kind of just wanted him to get it over with, like get it done and get it over with. He's always been neutered, so if he had found the right spot and just done it, then maybe he would have stopped, but it never did. He's an embarrassing animal sometimes.
What a dumbass.
We love him, and he's spoiled.
He's very
he
cute.
is so spoiled. This fuckhead is so spoiled. I think it's my fault. But it's probably because I hated him in the first couple years, and now I love him, so I have to, like, make up for that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
I was out of town
Plus, he's my child.
not too long ago, but for like a couple weeks in a row, so he started sleeping on the bed, which he never had done before.
Oh, I needed a companion.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
He's the worst to share a bed with. He's a 60-pound animal.
Bed hog.
And he, like, even, you wouldn't think dog legs could push against your body so
yes.
hard, but he moves me. I'm 250 pounds, and he will push me over on the bed. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah. He tries to push me out of the bed all the time.
Yeah.
He always wants my side. Little fuck.
Yeah, well,
I'm the one who gave him, like, the opportunity to be on the bed.
I had him first, though.
Asshole.
So
Yeah.
he is really just trying to take back his original
Look,
spot.
he's embarrassed.
Yeah,
He knows we're talking about
it's
him,
good.
and
It's
he
good.
walked out of the room.
It's good.
He's finally
He needs
just
to-
hungry,
Literally has
probably.
his tail tucked between his legs.
No.
Do you have pets?
Yeah. Oh, Katie and I were talking about this beforehand. I have a lot of pets. I evidently just don't know how to say no to things living.
Do you have
with
a
me.
farm? You have a full farm.
I don't have a farm. I mean, my children smell like farm animals often, but no, I have 2 dogs and I have 3 cats,
Okay.
and it's horrible. It's just as terrible as it sounds.
So you don't have rats then?
No.
Okay,
no,
well,
I'm
see,
not
that's
willingly.
I'm really
have one in the
thinking
basement.
I have at least one
I think.
right now.
I haven't heard it lately.
If you have one, you have more than one.
Well, I
Well, we
killed
got
one
one.
last week. Finally.
Congratulations.
Huge, yes, I'm so proud of myself. My dog did point it out. It was living in the table that you're sitting at right now, and he was barking at the table for a couple hours one morning, and I knew what it was. So I pulled him in here, and I closed the door and blocked the bottom of the door off, and we flipped the table, and I started kicking because there's a leaf hidden under here. Oops, I'm sorry who I'm kicking. There's a leaf hidden under this table. So we finally get him out, and Cashew had done all this work to let me know about the thing. I was like, all right, get him! And he just started running back and forth in here, and Cash hid over in the corner. Let's see if we're doing what we're supposed to do. Bum, bum. Hey, we are still recording this time.
You'd mentioned
One
Cash,
time it
yeah,
paused.
I know.
Yeah.
It did. Which it never should do. When the screen locks, it should keep recording. Anyway, Cash hid over in the corner and did not want to help me catch the rat at all. So, one's down. I got him. I got him in a bucket. And humanely euthanized him. So
For the most part, yeah.
no, it was yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on air is that I humanely euthanized said animal. No, they're the worst. They chew all your. It's a rat.
Shoot
I mean,
everything.
I'm
They're like
sorry,
chewing,
ladies
like-
and gentlemen, but at the end of the day, it is a rat.
It's literally varmint.
They're
Yes.
awful.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
chewing
they're
the
the
base
worst.
of our table out there and like the chairs and
I got that one.
it ate
I
all
might
the
get a
butter
cat.
off my counter.
Yeah, cats help. I've never seen a mouse or a varmint on my property, and I have 3 cats.
See, honey.
It's helpful, and you can get like an indoor-outdoor one that doesn't bug you too much.
Yeah, but the thing is, we need to go to the basement, and there's no like.
You'd have to like get a cat door.
The
Yeah, but
basement's
the
a
basement's
separate
like
entry.
separate. Yeah.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
like no entry.
Can you
from
get a
the
cat
house here?
chute, like a laundry chute that they
I
could
don't
just
how's it gonna
maybe
get up?
Luke, with your
know.
imagination, you can make anything.
Yeah.
It's a
Anything
cat
is
chute
possible.
and a cat dumbwaiter. If you combine
gosh.
those two ideas,
Just
then
like
it can
train
come-
it to like hit it.
Yeah.
And it'll drop it down.
Or
Yes.
a cat
Let's do
door
it.
on the separate entrance.
Okay, Michael, I don't really appreciate your logic right now because
That's a good idea.
trying to build a cat chute in my home, which seemed like a really good idea when I said it. So,
Go get a cat.
okay, well, it's on the books.
For everything else that we have to get to, so you get the cat litter and the cat box.
With
like-
indoor-outdoor, there's really no litter situation.
Boom, listen to Michael. And it can use our dog door that we already have.
Yeah. 2/3 of my cats are indoor-outdoor, so.
Okay.
I have a box for emergencies.
So we can't adopt though. Like, how would you train an adopted cat to do
the
it?
Humane Society has all kinds of like semi-feral.
Do you think they would think it was weird if I went in there and asked for their like most like insane killer cat?
That's actually what I did.
That's
have
what
you
you
ever
asked
heard
for?
the story of how I like adopted
No,
my
I'd like
cat?
to.
No.
Okay, I have an interesting relationship with my cat. We actually just celebrated our 8-year anniversary. I've owned this cat for 8 years now.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
This cat thinks we're in a cuckold relationship. I'm not allowed to pet him at all or touch him, even though he's very loving and affectionate to anyone else who comes to my house.
Everyone but you.
Everyone but me. I have harmed him irreparably in some way. Or it's his kink. I don't know. When other people pet him, he does look at me and kind of like, I love it so much.
Fuck you, bitch.
His name is Newman, appropriately. And when I went to the Humane Society to get him, I told the lady that I was looking for a good mouser, something kind of rough and tumble, ideally with one eye. And I found him.
Did they have any cats with one eye?
They did. They had this beautiful cat with mange and one eye and a big scar tear on his ear.
Yeah.
And his name was Milton.
Okay.
And I picked him up and I fell in love with him. And he was the cat for me. And they said, oh, ma'am, you can't have that cat. And I said, the fuck I can't. And this is my cat. Look at him. And they were like, no, he's like contagious. You need to get a shot now. You can't have that cat.
Oh my God.
So I picked up the bastard above him, who was Newman.
Oh, there you go.
And he was fine. He was
With both eyes though.
he does unfortunately have
Was he as close to as churlish as the other one?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
equally
just huge.
okay.
Like,
Why would they let you touch the cat though?
I guess evidently mange is contagious, and he needed to be treated for the mange before he could be adopted. And they weren't sure if he was going to survive the treatment.
So you like picked up the cat and they were like, "Oh my God, don't touch it!"
Yeah, they were like, "Don't touch that cat."
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
gotcha.
ringworm or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying too much attention after they said I couldn't have the one-eyed cat that I wanted.
Did you go get the shot though?
No, I was kidding, Katie. That was a joke. I tell jokes.
Oh, I really thought you were serious.
Oh.
Wow, that went right over my head.
Sorry. No. It
I
was
don't
a
have
lie.
my soundboard.
I'm a big liar. Do you really have one of those like morning?
I have the morning zoo soundboard. If you
Yikes.
dig back into
No,
the
I've seen-
early
I know, you're right.
TPDMs, they're
I
in
have
there.
heard
They're
them.
there.
And if I
Yeah.
had a laptop sitting next to me right now, I would be on said DJ horn.
That
so
totally
hard.
just went over my head.
So
By like
I
a lot.
did get Newman, who holds me in cuckold, and it's fine because he kills the mice
Hey.
and whatever else is.
I dig it. So we need a Newman.
Yeah,
Hello.
I can lend you a Newman.
Newman.
I clearly he wouldn't miss me.
Yeah. Apparently not. I had a
He'd
friend
probably
offer
miss
me their
his
cat.
space, but
And he goes, as long as you left the lights on, I mean, our cat could come stay in your basement for a couple days and it'd be no big deal.
Yeah. I have lent Newman out in that exact circumstance.
That's perfect.
oh really?
We kept him in a basement, nice and hungry, and he took care of my friend's problem.
Oh, see. Okay. Well, more on Newman.
Newman.
More
Yeah.
on Newman later because this could be a thing.
Yeah, we have a serious problem.
Can I it's not as serious as it used to be.
Yeah,
I used to
no.
think it was. I was freaking out when I first discovered it.
He's
So
like,
I
we
went
probably
into
have
my-
40 mice and and I was like, oh,
I read
my
enough
God.
online that scared the shit out of me. That was like, oh, if you have one rat, you have 25 of them, and I was just like, oh no.
Well, the problem was we knew they were coming up through the sink and they were getting into the trash and leaving like poop everywhere. And I was like, Luke, you need to take care of this. And it was like weeks before he did anything. And then we had a fucking rat. And I was like, geez, thanks for letting it go. Like, I just threw you under the bus.
Yeah,
Hardcore.
I mean,
but
I actually think there's only one left, but we'll see. That's later.
might be dead. I
Later
haven't heard him.
updates. Later updates, and this probably doesn't matter. We'll figure out how many there were or are. They used to keep me up at night, and they don't anymore. So either I've gotten used to them, or
It can go
I don't
either
know.
way.
okay, perfect. Michael, you're a local comedian. We love you. We all love you.
I appreciate
We
that
think
so
you're
much.
hilarious.
It's so weird to hear someone call me a comedian. I don't know if I accept the title yet. It's a lifelong dream, but I guess I'm doing it.
Do you want me to say aspiring instead of local? Because that sells you short.
That does sell me short.
But
I've
it's
been
both.
paid for comedy now.
Yeah.
And that feels damn good.
Cool.
absolutely.
And
What's your background? What's your history? How long have you? Did you grow up on comedy?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Actually, I have a thing from when I was in kindergarten, and it was like a Martin Luther King Day thing where we wrote on clouds, and it was like, I have a dream to, fill in the blank. And mine said, I have a dream to be a comedian, but comedian is crossed out because I couldn't spell it.
Oh.
And then it's crossed out again, and then it says stand-up comic.
Oh.
It's that I could spell. And it's been a dream forever, as long as I can remember.
Who were you into?
She's kind of canceled now, but I mean, Roseanne was my hero.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Roseanne was 100% my hero. I grew up poor, and I saw that representation on television, and you could be chubby, and you could be poor, and you could be loved and funny, and you could tell the story that no one else. If you guys look back at TV, even shows that are considered as relatable as, again, canceled Cosby Show or Family Matters, these people owned their nice homes and had jobs and cars and never worried about money stuff. Do you remember the episode of Roseanne where they needed a bed and these two large people bought a full because they couldn't afford anything bigger?
Right.
I never watched it.
Yes, I remember some Roseanne.
I think I got a few years on you guys.
I remember a ton of Cosby.
My parents didn't let me watch it, so
that was definitely my hero. I get it.
Sheltered.
I get it. I was the opposite of sheltered. But Roseanne was my hero, my comedy idol. I wanted to be as funny as her. And I remember I was watching one of her stand-up specials, or maybe she was just on Johnny or something like that. I'm not sure. And she was talking about this guy giving her crap for being fat. And she said, yeah, I'm fat, but you're stupid and ugly. I can lose weight. What the fuck you gonna do? And I was empowered. And I came to school the next day with like armor.
Yeah.
I had a comeback. I was going to, I was begging to be bullied at that point. Because like Roseanne had given me permission to flip the script on people. And it was game changing.
Were you always funny one in your group?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I didn't have a group. I was very, childhood was very interesting for me.
Yeah.
I didn't really have friends until I moved to Wenatchee.
Okay.
So where'd you grow up?
SoCal, and then Yakima, and then here.
Okay.
So, my parents were drug dealers.
Wow.
Yeah, we're getting into it.
Please, let's go.
My first job was mule.
Go. Really?
Yeah, my mom figured out that the border doesn't check babies' diapers. And my parents had a pill connection in Mexico. And she would put the pills in my diaper, and I wore a diaper until I was way too old to wear a diaper.
Whoa.
Because I helped mom and dad smuggle drugs in.
Whoa. Okay. Hang on. So, did you have any idea what you were up to?
Not until I was way older than I should have been to figure everything out. I did have the protection of an older sister. Okay. A much older sister. Yeah. Who was kind of like a second mom. And kind of protected me from a lot of stuff.
Was in on the business or no?
No. I found a dead body when I was 6 in a bathroom. Sorry. Wow. I keep like trying to communicate with you.
Just turn your mic like a little bit, no other way.
Like
if
that?
You're gonna, and then move it, and then move it that way. See, so if you want to, if you want to look at me, you're talking to the front. Perfect.
There we go. Is that good?
Yes, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, yes. I found an OD'd body in our bathroom when I was 6, and
at home.
At home, my parents were having a party, and
no shit.
I knew enough to like put her head to the side so she wouldn't aspirate. And I just kind of pulled her head onto my lap, and I was kind of stroking her hair and telling her she was going to be okay. And I thought she was just, passed out. And my sister found us and was like, "Oh, Mikey, you need to step away." And it didn't click with me until like my mom like gasped, and then I was like, "Oh shit, this lady is fucking dead."
Oh my God.
And then like I had to hide in a closet for like, God, it felt like days, but it was probably just a few hours while like the police and everything were called and stuff. And that was like the first indication, like, oh, I think we're doing good stuff here.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, my sister has a story like I'd put an 8-ball in my mouth when I was little, and like she took us to the emergency room to make sure I was okay. Yes. And then like knew enough to like lie about our IDs and like our names and stuff, and like hide and like get us out of there before CPS was there. And like, that's I didn't grow up like most people. So
no, it doesn't sound like it.
I didn't have peers until again we moved to Wenatchee.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you moved out of your parents? Were you like 18, you waited till you were 18 to move on? Or?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. No, we moved to Wenatchee when I was like 14. My parents...
Okay.
My parents quit drugs when I was 7 or 8.
Oh,
now,
okay.
so, I mean, was the whole thing... was their involvement in that just out of necessity? It was just completely related to...
Little column A, little column B. Why do people do the things they do? My dad was a recording musician. You don't pay the bills with that.
Right.
They liked drugs, and they liked to party. They needed to pay the bills. Unfortunately, it lent itself to so many, we had to move constantly because the junkies would, find our address, ransack the house. I literally don't have anything. I have one thing from my childhood, my Noid doll. They wouldn't steal my Noid doll for some reason, but, but they got their stuff together. Actually, my arm, I had a really, my mom wanted to quit drugs. So she found her birth mother and moved to Yakima.
Okay.
To quit drugs. My father said, fuck you, I want to be a rock star, and stayed in California.
Okay.
I broke my arm really, really badly. Have you guys seen my arm?
I guess not enough.
Oh.
Nope, not like that.
Nope.
For the listener,
Yeah.
we got a bend at the elbow somewhere, in the 30-degree range that isn't supposed to...
Looks broken.
Yeah,
Bend
do
that
way.
So the elbow bone is plastic. There's pins holding it together.
Okay.
I had cadaver tissue, muscle, and ligament, rather. It was a big deal surgery, and the hospital wasn't going to give it to us because we didn't have insurance.
Oh.
And my mother finagled and used my grandpa's house, and it was very 80s healthcare situation because they just wanted to amputate, which is like $6,000.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely cheaper.
And it was like $120,000 surgery.
Wow.
The hospital was and a lot of rehab. I had to take anti-rejection drugs.
So it was going to be at your elbow down?
Yeah, pretty much here down. Yeah. And I was actually I woke up and I was surprised to see my hand there because they had me all ready for amputation.
How did you break it?
I wish this was a cooler story. I slipped on a newspaper.
Okay.
But I went high in the air and my elbow hinged backwards when I landed.
Just landed and
it just kind of shattered everything in my arm.
Oh my God.
So my dad gets, and this is the 80s, so he gets the phone call that's hey, your kid's gonna lose her arm and life sucks and you're an asshole because and so he drives straight through 24 hours, but he's there after the surgery and he finds out all the insurance stuff.
You were up in Yakima with mom?
Well, after SoCal, yeah.
Okay.
We had just moved to Yakima.
That's where the arm break happened.
Yeah.
So. Okay. That's what I was wondering.
We hadn't even found a place yet. We were still staying with her mom.
Boy.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And so dad, he comes up and he just feels like a piece of shit that his kid doesn't have insurance, that his kid almost lost her arm over something so dumb. And he's like, I'm going to do better. And so he quit drugs and quit music and
okay.
Well, got a job that had insurance and stuff. And
just right then, it's a literal turning point you can point to?
Yeah. No, he talks about it often. He's like, your arm kind of saved my life. I probably wouldn't be around, And
I'd sacrifice that 30-degree bend. I mean, that makes sense.
I like that because,
yeah.
it's me.
It's a thing. Totally.
I love the scar. I love everything about it.
It looks like you have two elbows.
Yeah.
When you hold your arm that way, it actually looks like you have the second elbow there.
It was great when I had substitute teachers because I could be like, I don't think it's supposed to do that.
Right.
Really freak out the sub,
It freaks me out a little still.
I get it.
Stop doing that.
No, my ex-husband, occasionally, even certain sex positions, he'd be like, your arm, I can't. I can't.
It throws you or it just makes your body feel weird.
I was in a play once and we all had to point like this. And the director was like, I can't anymore. You have to stand on the other side.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
But there's a lot of men out there who would let their ego be like, yeah, that fucking kid ruined my music career, and he was never like that. He was really lovely about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a dad.
Yeah, he was.
What a dad.
How do we got to the
I have
background?
no-
Did we get to the background and talking about comedy? I know we did talk about comedy at some point.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, because all of it makes total sense because you have to
Really just like looped in a big thing for me. Like
Okay.
in your background, I'm like, this is why we do it though.
Totally.
This is why we get.
No, that's what I want to hear, and I think a lot of people would make up like you got to be fucked up somehow if you're gonna have anything to talk about.
That's
as far as
100%
comedy.
true. Yeah.
It has me
fucked up way of
sometimes wishing I
thinking.
was more fucked up. I'm plenty fucked up already, and
Luke's
my
like
wife
fucked up, but then I meet people and I'm like, he's like, I get it. Like he fits
I'm a
in.
medium
Like,
level. I have your
He
standard
has
mental
people.
illnesses that people who would try to be funny
Yeah.
would have. I
Right,
have
of
massive
course.
anxiety
he has
issues.
people like him.
I have a hard time getting out of bed. I deal with depression all the time. Those are your comedy light sort of things. Like, yeah, everyone has those. And
Oh,
then
for
you get
sure.
into like, and not that I would ever wish like a fucked up childhood, but that's what builds a funny person, Michael, right? Like
It
that's
is,
it
100%.
really is.
Yeah. No,
So
humor was how I made friends.
Yeah.
Humor is how I didn't get picked on. We lived in South Central Los Angeles most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I did not fit in, if you could imagine.
yeah, South Central makes
Yeah.
sense.
And
Do you speak Spanish?
nope.
Okay.
That's okay.
I wish I did.
I
I
wish
really
I
did.
did.
I
Wait,
wish
when
I
you
spoke
were-
Spanish
how
so
old were
bad.
you?
Yeah, I was like
11?
7.
Oh,
and then,
not
and
even,
then we
yeah.
were in Yakima, and then
So yeah.
I wish that's a top of my list is like to learn Spanish for sure.
It's definitely on
It
mine.
just never happened for me.
If I find the system, if it is just Rosetta Stone, I will eventually just cough up the money papers.
it's on that
I don't know what it
to-do
is.
list we never get to.
Yeah, you know,
There's a lot of those.
I just
On
started
everyone's
reading
list.
a book that I can't say whether it works or not because I'm like 20 pages in, but so far what I've gotten to on his kind of organization system is anything that's in your mind that's on your to-do list you need to just write down and acknowledge. And if that's all I got out of this thing from 20-30 pages of reading, like that's so true. I need to start just
Practice
writing
notebook.
things down
An
and
avid
stop,
to-do
like-
list person.
yeah, and
Me
stop keeping it
too.
in your head
That's
because it's
how I get
useless.
anything done.
It's useless in your head. You're not going to
I have
remember it.
no-
Is it the book on the coffee table?
Yeah.
I saw
Doctor,
that. Yeah.
it's not Doctor. It's David Allen getting things done.
Yeah, I saw that when I walked in.
I'm an avid note taker, and I bet I have like 15, 20 books, like the legal notepads,
Mm-hmm.
just from the 4 years I'm at or the arena,
I
go back.
I switched to a Rocket book because of the amount of paper I
What
use.
is a rocket book?
What?
So Rocket
Oh, is
and
that
Wave
that
books.
thing where you can like pull it out?
Actually, with my book, I have the Rave book actually,
Okay.
and you have to use a special kind of ink, but it's a completely reusable book, and when
wow.
when all the pages are used, you put it in the microwave, and it erases everything that you've
No
written.
kidding.
Because I'm
What?
really trying to cut down on like single use
Sure.
disposable
to do
stuff.
that. Fuck yeah.
And yeah, I've microwaved it once now, and it was so much fun. And yeah,
That's
that's how
great.
many like to-do lists and like just jotting things down constantly. And
now,
then,
did you have to go through and long-term archive anything in there?
Yes,
'Cause
and it
that would be
makes
my
it-
problem. I'd be taking
Actually,
pictures of every
I want to
page.
go get it to show it to you guys.
Well, here's what's going to happen. In
Yeah.
like 10 minutes, we're going to take a break.
Oh, perfect.
Because
Okay.
I'm going to have to pee and smoke. So
Yeah, it has a QR code in the corner, and you can actually just take a picture with your phone, and you can organize your material. You can code it, and even if you mark a certain part on the page, it'll QR code send it to a certain file.
Yep.
So wait,
I do
the
want to see
ink-
this thing before we're
the ink
done here.
captures it
Yes.
and downloads it.
No, the
On
QR
mobile?
code in the
QR
corner
code in the
codes
corner
it.
codes it to a certain file.
So I would take a picture of the page. That QR code in the corner would register in my camera, and I'd be able to search that later. Am I getting that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then once I microwave
And then
it, I can just search that page with the QR code.
there is an app that actually translates handwriting to text.
Yeah, so I just got.
But
this
you
is
have
my
to-
brag thing. I got the Galaxy Note 10 when it came
Ooh,
out, so I can pop my
fancy.
stylus out on a log. This is literally the only reason I paid this much for a phone. It's for one function. On my lock screen, without ever touching anything, I can pop the stylus out, right on my screen. It will convert it to text, and it will be in my notes app when I'm looking for it.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. I've never spent more than $100 on a phone.
Yeah, I just paid $1,000. So
that makes me very jealous.
I paid $1,000 for a stupid phone. And I shouldn't say it's stupid. I really do like it.
That phone is smarter than both of us.
I will
really
never. Here's my real
everything,
problem.
like-
Yes, it does take really nice pictures too. My problem when I do technology like this is that I know I will at most unlock like a 16th of its. It's going to do so much more than I will ever know. But I went and bought $1,000 phone because I work as a general contractor for my day job, and it was just like, oh, I write so much stupid shit down that really all I actually need to do is write it down, and I won't even look at it again.
Yeah,
because just writing it will commit it to memory.
Same.
Well, it transfers it from one side of your brain to the other.
Yep. And taking that phone out and taking the note, I need something at 7 3/16 and something at 12 7/8. Like, boom. And that would be, I would say my notes are probably 80% that random numbers and 20% comedy thoughts, which I actually love also because I wake up. That's the only time I think of comedy anymore is when I wake up.
Yeah.
I wake up in the middle of the night and have just been having this dream about this awesome bit or something, and I'll just write something down. So
I tweet it.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it too.
Because I don't have like the mental capacity to grab the pen and the notebook, and like that'll wake me up too much. But I can grab my phone and send out like a weird ass tweet.
And that's your Facebook posts also? So I got to plug you. You have some of my favorite Facebook posts.
Wow.
Michael Lee Miller on Facebook.
Flattered.
I'm going to send people towards you.
That would be Facebook at the girl Michael.
Okay.
Or
Boom.
you can just Michael Lee Miller
at the girl Michael. Great one-liners. You're up there. It's you and Levi Manis are my two favorites. And
who is Levi Manis? I need to find him.
He's hilarious. Yeah, do
we
go
had
find
him
him
at Radar
on Facebook.
Station.
He was my first show at Radar with a couple other folks from Seattle. It was a weird connection. I
grew up with him.
Oh wow!
In Waterville.
So yeah, and I had never heard of him. I heard him on Kill Tony, which is a podcast out of the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. And I don't know if you've heard it. I won't
Not
explain
the podcast.
it. I'll explain it to anyone who's listening. So Kill Tony's a podcast. It's an open mic format on a lottery. So people put their names in a bucket and they're drawn for 1 minute of time. 60 seconds on stage.
And you don't know if you're going to get pulled or not.
You have no idea if you're going to get pulled or not.
I've done a lottery open mic, but nothing is permanent.
They have a band. They have Tony Hinchcliffe, who's a very touring working comedian, and he's funny. We've seen him in Bellevue.
Yeah.
He's really good. Brian Redband, who is also a comedian and kind of technology guy, and then they usually have a very famous comedian guest. And most of what they do is shit on really awful open micers. I would say that's one of my favorite parts about the podcast is people will get up. Now, I don't know, in my style of what I do, I don't know if I could work a minute. A minute is insanely
That's
tough.
the second you said that, my very narcissistic brain automatically started going, what can I do in a minute? What can I do in a minute? That sucks.
And what do you do when you get up and you're like, on?
Yeah, well, and I rely
Totally
so much on like pauses and dramatic effect.
Totally. Radar's last open mic, which was the last one I had been to, and I wish I had been to more, but
yeah, are we going to discuss that, the demise of that beautiful place?
Yeah, we should. The Radar's last open mic, I went and thought that I had a tight 5 minutes to get on stage with, and it was like 9.5.
You killed. It was very funny.
Hilarious.
I appreciate it.
It was really good.
But I actually thought I was going up there with 5 minutes, and I was going to go like do my thing for 5 minutes and just be done. And I got off, and Katie handed me her phone because I had asked her to just like record it. It's always good to record and review and all that.
I need to. I
Yeah.
have exactly one
I would
video
never,
of my comedy.
Oh, see, and I'm not at a point where I would ever post any of mine. Like, I don't have any interest in sharing. All I want to do is know what I have done. And I was expecting to see like a 5-minute, like in and out tight 5. That's what I just wanted. I wanted a tight 5. It represented a year and a half of work on comedy for me.
Right.
It really did. I started August 9th of 2018.
Yeah.
And we were finishing in December.
It's a year and a half.
November, was it November of
little over a
2019?
year.
It just
Wow.
felt like it was my year and a half. That's what I did, and I didn't write anything new that night. I went to all of the ones that I had done. I kind of tightened them up for a couple days beforehand, and that's what I was excited to do. I thought it was going to be 5 minutes, and it was 9.5.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would I don't know what I would do in 60 seconds on Kill Tony. It's a very tough format.
I'd have to put
It's a good
a lot of
exercise,
thought into
though.
it. No,
could
it's
do,
just a
like-
really good exercise. It's your elevator pitch.
Totally.
When you write a book, people talk about that a lot. The elevator pitch. You need to be able to concisely tell someone in the ride of an elevator everything they need to know about your book.
Absolutely.
And I am incapable of doing that with my own work. I have tried so hard, and I failed miserably with the elevator pitch. I still have trouble with it.
This is the perfect tease right after a break that you guys aren't going to know we took. We're going to talk about the book I Should Have Worn Panties by Michael Lee Miller. Boom. Have to be so bad. All right. One of my main struggles is going back into notebooks. I wish I was better about that.
Like revisiting your old thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, because I will get stuff out of my mind. But like even for instance, the last open mic, I went through all my old notebooks to see what I had done in the last year and a half.
How else are you going to get your good material?
And was like, oh, here's a ton of jokes that I told once, went okay, honestly, and then never. And that's the other challenge. And then never visited again. Yeah. However, that's a challenge in Wenatchee when the crowd is the same, really week to week. Yeah. Is you don't get the opportunity to try here's what I would have changed about this. Versus, I think if you're in a city, you should be able to hit 3 mics a week.
Yeah.
And you could those
jelly.
This is my week's material.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to work on this week.
Yeah, and really tighten it up. And we don't have that advantage. And you couldn't be more right about like the same crowd.
I mean, like you probably could do 3 open mics in a week, except now Radars is gone and we only really have Badger,
which is once a month
now. But wasn't she doing it every?
I don't know.
Isn't she only?
I thought
Thursday?
It was
Is she Tuesday or Thursday?
Tuesdays.
She's Tuesday.
I thought it was every Tuesday
so
for a minute there.
She's the competition to your trivia.
Well,
on Tuesdays, which huge shout out.
No. She has no competition to my trivia. My trivia is always done by 6:30, 6:45 at the latest.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
And you can head right on over to Badger Mountain Brewing for comedy night.
I'm selling it as a competition, but I am fully gonna sell it as my favorite trivia in the valley.
I appreciate that a lot.
I actually cannot emphasize that enough because I love the breweries. I love the beer at the breweries. The beer at the breweries is great.
You're a beer guy for sure.
Yep.
And I'm not a beer snob, but I just it's the only time I drink microbrews. I don't buy micros and take them home, so the only time I'm going to have them is at the breweries themselves. This podcast
they all do okay,
brought to you by Coors Light for a change and not Keystone Light, but
and some vodka.
And the non-beer drinker is drinking one of Katie's delicious vodka cocktails, and it is delicious. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, yes, you're welcome.
New Amsterdam, just up above that bottom shelf.
That's where I live. That's where I date. Yeah. That is just above bottom shelf is my brand, Luke Atkinson. Thank you.
Perfect. I like it. Where was I gonna be?
We were pushing my trivia night.
I was gonna continue to push your trivia.
Buzz Inn East. 5:30 every Tuesday.
5:30 on every Tuesday.
Except
not next week because we're not doing it on New Year's or on Christmas Eve. We're doing it on New Year's Eve. I don't know when this is gonna air.
The evergreen side of this podcast.
Hopefully by New Year's Eve.
By New Year's.
New Year's Eve. Go check it out.
No, that's a lie.
Oh, never mind.
This one might be
into the new year, 2020.
probably.
Check out Tuesdays.
Tuesday night.
Buzz East.
It's starting to pick up some momentum. There was
It's packed always when we get in there.
well, you've only been there for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I
Unfortunately,
guess.
it's it was.
That's
it was
your
really-
momentum, though.
My
If that's your
momentum is-
momentum, it looks good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
finally picking up. There was a lot of weeks of like 1 or 2 teams, and I was starting to get really
Oh.
discouraged.
Michael went and sold a bar of old dudes tonight to go play trivia. Also, that was great.
That was awesome.
Did they
They
place?
won.
Did they win?
They won. The dudes at
course
the
they
bar
did.
won.
So-
They were fantastic. I was really proud of them.
If you're a 60-something-year-old gentleman who looks like he may have hopped a Freightliner or 2 in his day, it could be the trivia for you. Michael, you're an old soul, huh? Is that what it is?
I guess so. I love coming up with the questions. I absolutely.
How do you come up with the questions?
Some of them I just go to like trivia sites
Yeah.
and copy paste.
Totally.
Or I'll reword them to make them either easier or harder.
For your lightning round that I wrote while we were outside smoking before this
Oh.
podcast,
Oh.
I copied and pasted a lot of things.
Fantastic. Nothing wrong with that.
We'll get to that.
And when I first started, it was I could just draw upon the wealth of a lifetime of what I've occurred. You know, I like trivia, and I would just, oh yeah, the kneecap is, you know, called this, and you don't have one until you're 2, and you know,
okay.
stuff like the little weird things that stick in
Right.
your brain. And then after 3 weeks, I'm like, I'm out. That's everything I know.
Yeah.
I'm done. And so like I'll just kind of start in a place. Sometimes I'll like music. I can usually come up with the questions on my own. That's something I know
Yeah.
a lot about. And then I'll get on a Wikipedia page about a musician, and I'll look up something interesting about that musician.
That's cool.
And then I'll just get in that wiki time loop of clicking on weird links.
Yeah.
You know, and like, oh, Franz Ferdinand. Oh, okay, let's, you know.
They're just all relatable. I feel like it's something that I would know or probably should know.
It's
and
not
it's
asking
not like,
what the second cousin of the last World Cup's goalkeeper's name
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
'cause
like,
we've run
really
into some stuff like, you know what I mean?
I know.
It's just like-
It's hard not to make
Insane.
them too hard. I try not to ask a question that I don't already know the answer to or would reasonably know the answer to.
Yeah.
Unless it's a category like sports that I know nothing about.
I just appreciate it because I'm so not a history buff.
I'm
Not a
most
trivia
people
Nazi.
aren't.
Like,
Yeah.
I just don't.
I want to try to have something for everyone. That's why there's all the varied
Yeah.
categories. I try to throw in fun things. You guys have been there for the crossword, essentially. Clues.
starts with the letter
Yeah,
F.
I was going to say, I actually really like that.
That's
round, that's a good round.
Because before that round was like movie quotes.
Oh.
And then I'd kind of run out of like popular movie quotes.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I like that because
Yeah.
it's like, it gives you somewhat of a hint. You got like 6 letters. And it's like,
Yeah. Then that's been fun the last couple of
Who would
weeks.
have thought floozy was double O?
Yeah. Everyone
I-
misspelled
Did
it.
everyone do it?
Everyone
that wasn't
misspelled
even how I
floozy.
originally was going to tell him to spell it. Like,
Fluzey.
I said
that's-
ZZY.
Yeah,
like
that's what you guys
floozy.
went with.
Oh,
Yeah.
OZY? Is
Oh,
that what it was?
OZY, yeah.
And is that a Webster thing? Is that a real word?
Yes, that
Is
is a word.
floozy a
word.
Oh,
real
yeah,
word?
I mean,
It's a
it makes
slang.
sense.
It's a slang word, but it is
But
in the
it's
dictionary.
it's in the dictionary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't gonna get it for a long time. It's like gash doesn't start with an F. No, I'm
Wait
sorry.
a minute.
That's not a word for that. That's
Wow.
a different word. That's not even 6 letters, Luke.
Change
Luke?
of subject. Let's go to Saipan. Saipan is United States.
No.
Yes, I was so mad that more people didn't get Saipan. The Saipanese
What?
have been part of the United States since like the 40s. They're U.S. citizens. I know someone from the island of Saipan. Like I was
I
very
had no
offended.
idea.
Which
I
is
had
where?
no idea.
Which is where? Did you, Katie? Look.
It's
it up.
over by Japan.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's,
it is.
almost.
That was my guess. Katie
mean,
said
it was-
Vietnam. I was
I
like,
said
oh, that's better than
Vietnam.
mine because I was Saipan.
I was thinking
Japan. I mean, it
Thailand.
sounded like the same. I almost said Japan. I didn't say it though, ladies and gentlemen. I said Japan. Saipan, Japan.
Yes.
Seemed like they would make sense. It's by Japan.
It is by Japan.
It's over
Right?
in the coast there. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Why are they?
I think it's something.
Do you know the
I
history?
don't. I
Okay.
wish I'd come in hot with like all this knowledge
You
because
were
I
so
do
like,
know
I'm
Saipanese.
so bummed that you guys didn't think it was the United States and there was no history to back it up.
I know someone from the island of Saipan, but
Okay.
I do know it's the Commonwealth of the United States, which is more than most people in that bar
I guess
knew.
Commonwealth
That's true.
is what, like,
No, intellectually, Michael, don't ever defend yourself against us.
yeah, no.
Because You don't.
It's shocking how many people I have to like remind that Puerto Ricans are Americans.
But that's not a Commonwealth.
Well, I knew Puerto Rico
Is
because
it a territory?
It's a U.S. territory.
Okay.
the skincare I sell, we are only in 3 countries. We are, so we're United States, Canada, Australia, but United States has Puerto Rico, and we have teams in Puerto Rico, and that's how I know about that.
The whole third act of my book takes place in Puerto Rico. And so I did a lot of research about that. I wanted some Puerto Rican. A perfect segue.
Okay.
To Michael E. Miller's book.
See, and here's the thing, audience at large. I came here on this beautiful podcast mostly because I wanted to do it. I think these two are funny, and I think this podcast is cool and interesting and important. No one else in Wenatchee is doing anything like this, really. And I came on to plug my book, available on Amazon.com.
Perfect.
And Ye Old Bookshop and other retailers soon, let's hope. And I'm going to be talking about it to 2 people who have not read it.
Yeah. So name again is
I Should Have Worn Panties.
Which, okay, can I pause and say that we are your exact target demographic right now? Is why don't you tell a couple people who haven't read your book?
Well, I don't read books, but I'll read a good book.
Well, I'm definitely we're gonna go purchase one.
But
yeah, tell me about
the elevator pitch.
Let's work on it.
Bad at.
We're gonna work on it with you.
The thing did the thing. I don't know if you. Sorry. I don't know if you
again
want me
to the
to
listener.
tell you.
No, we want you to tell him
I
because
had a problem a while back about my computer screen shutting off and my recording software doing the same. It has done that a couple of times tonight, but has not shut off yet.
Can you adjust the time before it goes?
I'm sure I could. Yeah.
He just doesn't know how to look, and he won't let me look because if I find it, I'm smarter than him, and he can't really do that.
I kids, and so I just fix this.
I just sometimes know how to search for stuff in technology, and it really irritates him.
It's my phone. It's only my phone, and I finally have a phone.
He has a phone that I actually can't outsmart.
Better than me I'm finally better at my own phone than my wife is, and I've never been
It's
so
actually
happy.
too smart for me, maybe.
I've never been so happy.
Really fancy. For $1,000, though, it should pleasure me in some way, like sexually. I can't imagine spending that much on a phone. I don't. I buy burners. I still have my phone is still under a prepaid account with a fake name.
This could
like
do
that's
it for
how
you.
no, that would not do it for me, Luke. Thank you for the offer, but that 3mm stylus, not really what I'm looking for in life.
Okay.
She's looking for much larger.
Heads up to all you gentlemen suitors.
Wait, for the single men of Wenatchee, and not much larger.
Okay, let's
not a size queen.
Oh my god!
I would hope it's much larger than that thing.
Well, much larger than that for sure. Yes. I just don't want to give anyone the wrong idea.
Well, there we go. I love that.
Okay.
Oh, this is off the rails.
That's great. No.
I love that these two are laughing their knockers off, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was finally funny. Like, fuck yeah, like working on my comedy. Just joking, not really, but just joking.
Hey, Michael, tell us about your book. I Should Have Worn Panties.
I Should Have Worn Panties follows the adventures of Jolise Jeffries, a Puerto Rican American woman who finds herself at 30 years old after the recent death of her mother, divorced, and in a place where she needs to support her family after being an at-home mom and having no work or education or experience. And in a gutsy move, some would say, and in an impulsive move, most would say, she turns to sex work. And that is how she supports her family after her divorce. As serious as all of this sounds, because it deals with grief and addiction and mental illness and recovery, it's very funny. It's a humorous look into the worst things that can happen to a human being in their life.
So it's based on a true story with your spin?
It's not.
It's based on.
It's some of it's very true. Some of it is very much so my story. Yes.
Okay.
My mother died. I turned 30, and my husband left me in a 3-month period. Mm-hmm. It was terrible. and I was an at-home mom, and I had no education, and I'd only worked at Domino's, and I hadn't worked in 5 years.
So it's based off your story with another woman's life fulfilling it.
Well, a fictional
whatever,
life.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I did some sketch shit. I'll admit to that. I've done some absolute sketch shit. I was we prefer the term voice actress or phone actress. A 1-900 number. I did that for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's
But
that pay?
very well, thank you.
Does it?
Oh yeah.
So what's the okay? Let's actually hold on.
I was trying to be serious, but I couldn't.
No, absolutely not. Can we dig in? So, like, if the advertised rate, what are you taking? Are you taking 80% of it?
Yeah, the agency I worked with would give you 80%
Of the advertised rate.
Of the advertised rate. So my $3.99 line, I would make 80% of $4 a minute, and then my $1.99 line, I would make 80% of $2 a minute.
Do you have people that like call back and request you?
Yes. Well, if they're calling, they're calling specifically you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're calling you, and they are your client.
Mm-hmm.
I got to imagine a lot of it is just lonely folks.
Indian men. Yes.
Okay.
There's a
Did you make
inequality in India. So there's a lot of very lonely single men in India who can't afford much, but they'll pay their $10 a month that they have for phone sex.
Any real connections?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
I got to assume if they're calling you people call to just talk.
Yeah. No, that was the $1.99 line. That was the girlfriend line. That was the I'm so glad you called. I missed you so much, baby line. And absolutely, whether real or imagined, they felt a deep connection.
There's something there.
Yeah.
There is something there.
For them, for sure.
Yes, for that. I wasn't in. Yes, I get it. But even I would say there's got to be something for you fulfilling it fictitiously. Is there nothing fulfilling on it?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's interesting. You definitely try to distance yourself.
Yeah.
And I just mostly felt sorry for a lot of them, especially the Indian men. Because it was the same story over and over again. There was one man, and I actually do have his permission to tell this. I thought I was going to tell his story in the book.
Okay.
And so I contacted anyone that was in the book in one regard or another, because a lot of the characters are based off of people in my real life. Again, I was not a sex worker,
and they don't know your like real identity, right? Like,
no,
do they?
No, not even a little. So there was a man who had lost his wife, and he wasn't comfortable moving on emotionally or physically, but he had needs.
Right.
And so he called once a week, and we had to concoct a whole situation over the phone. And we're talking like an hour at $2 a minute every week, where we would concoct this whole situation where he would find me, we would meet, we would go on a date. There was a romance because his old fashioned values, his love for his wife, I don't know what it was, but he couldn't get there without having like an emotional connection to it. Yeah.
Interesting.
That man paid my mortgage. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And I did
and
keep in contact with him because I did feel a connection to him.
And it sounds like you fulfilled an important need.
Absolutely.
In the guy's life.
I did.
As
a lonely,
uncommon as it might be, for that specific situation, but that's huge.
Yeah.
I forgot what I interrupted to get to this.
And let's be clear before we romanticize all of this. There was also a guy who called once a week because he likes to hear women burp. So I would grab a Diet Pepsi and go to town.
Oh, Diet Coke for me.
Well, I mean,
they're bubblier.
And anymore,
I can do it.
There's a huge... My wife and I could make a whole second income if we just wanted to sell her panties.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like
Absolutely.
if we just wanted to take pictures of Katie's butt in panties and say worn for 24 hours and mail them, we could make Katie's really...
I don't know who would want to look.
Yep, everyone.
Or buy my panties.
Everyone.
It is for sure a thing. That was my most requested thing, because they can contact you through the website where the 900 numbers, and that was my most requested thing.
So there's totally weird kinks out there.
Absolutely.
It's not like anyone's putting poop in Tupperware and sending it to someone, which is
I'm
another...
sure it's out there.
Yeah, That's why I brought it up. Yeah, it's definitely out there. No one frequents your mom's house
the
podcast.
Weirdest conversation
If no one is
I've ever had.
your
maybe?
mom's house with Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky. Another one you'll learn a lot about.
Oh, by the way, is my favorite podcast. Love them.
I will check that out.
Have you ever listened to Tom Segura?
Yeah, I've listened to his stand up.
Their podcast though is fucking hilarious.
I would imagine he's so
this
absurdist.
Aspires me. Christina aspires me to be the wife to do this. What? Inspires.
Wow.
I haven't given Katie.
What did I
haven't
say?
given
I don't even know.
I haven't given you a hard time about your words in so long. In the first 3 podcasts,
I have dyslexia of the mouth.
Yes, that's what it's
So
called.
if you ever
Fine.
hear me say anything wrong,
We totally understood what you meant.
Yes, we did.
put in my mouth.
No,
whatever.
this is just like a callback to episode 3 or 4.
Christina
okay.
inspires me to be the wife that Luke needs me to be
Well,
on a podcast.
He clearly needs that.
On the podcast, for sure.
I've never made Katie make me poop in Tupperware containers.
No.
So
If you listen to them and you hear
real.
them talk about like their sexual life, realize
Almost
that is so not me and Luke.
Spit vodka on the microphone.
Luke does not get anything that probably Tom Segura does. Like, no way.
I don't think Tom. Well, anyway, go listen to the podcast. Tom, I just gave you a shout out. You should have responded to my email.
Yeah, you should have,
Hey,
Tom.
I
You're
emailed you,
lost.
Tom.
I'm having a
Christina, I'm
blast.
loving you.
This was your podcast. Yeah. Okay, so this book is.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Okay,
so,
you're gonna.
All right.
Michael, I love you. Bring us back in.
I was going through a difficult time. For the last 10 years of my life, have taken care of my father who was sick at different levels. He passed this spring after a year on hospice. I was depressed. I was dealing with a lot of stuff. I was trying to finish my education. I was trying to raise these kids. Money stuff. Everything was going to shit. I was in a terrible accident that was 100% my fault, that has damaged my life irreparably. And I don't know what I did, but I sat down and I wrote the first 3 chapters, and I wasn't sure what I was doing. I handed it to a friend. I will always be so grateful that she said, I need more chapters.
Wow. That was awesome.
And I gave her a chapter a day or more for the next 24 days, and I finished the book in 24 days. And I didn't know what I set out to do, but I knew it when I was writing it, that it was something. And the big thing was I never finished anything. I'm not a finisher.
But you finished the book.
I'm not. And my
He's
dad
the
was
worst.
dying, and he was so worried about me without him. And I wanted to be able to hand it to him and be like, Dad, I did it.
Did you read it?
No. Oh, God, no. My father could never read. I snort coke off a dude's dick in that book,
But it's not you.
Well, no, it's not me. But anyone who reads it's going to assume it's me.
Have you by chance snorted coke off of a dude's dick before?
No comment.
Snorted coke off of a lot of things, but I will actually say I haven't.
I've totally done that.
Okay.
No, I can't let my father. No, there's actually there's a whole thing in the acknowledgments where I thank my children and I say, please never read this.
Yes.
It is a filthy book. And I didn't mention that. See, the elevator bridge for this book is so hard because it's funny and it's serious and it's sad and it's a lot about recovery. It's a huge part about recovery. Let me drink this vodka from addiction and mental problems. And but it's hilarious and it's filthy and it's sexy and it's a lot of things all at once.
So you say it's a sexy, filthy book about addiction and recovery.
That's, I guess, and sex work.
And there's $5
And Puerto
coming out
Rico.
of your boob. Fuck yeah. She just had $5 pop out of her
Did it just come
boob.
out? Did it like pop out?
Yeah, like she
It
just
was
had $5
one of
pop
my
out of her boob.
tips. I'm very grateful for the
Love
people
it.
who come to
I
Buzz
love that.
and
That was like the perfect timing. Fuck yeah.
So and
I had $5 pop out of my
Yeah.
boob every once in a while. Buy me
Wow.
coffee.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely do love when my tips, they always, I don't expect to get tips at the trivia nights. And sometimes I make a ton of money. Like some teams will just hand me the pot back.
Oh,
The whole
really?
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's nice.
and then some
I wouldn't do that. I'm sorry, but I'd give you something.
I absolutely wouldn't either.
No, I get it.
I'm super selfish.
No, it was $52 this week. That's your tab.
Totally.
You know?
Oh, that's my tab.
Now, the
the
guys who
rest of
split it,
tonight.
what did they split that 7 ways, though?
Yeah, there was a lot of guys in the winning team this
Yeah.
week, so I don't know how much they made.
Yeah, they
but
were funny.
They were. I love the guys at the bar. They're so great.
They were responsible for at least 2 of my answers, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
oh.
I mean, they were yelling at each other pretty loud, like, yep, that makes sense. Okay.
Well, and it's funny because they usually don't play, and they usually sit at the bar, listen to my questions,
Yeah.
and answer them.
So
Yes.
this is the first night they all actually played and
Yes.
they fucking won.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
Fuck
great.
those guys.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Did we have any chance to win?
I think you were in 4th or 5th.
Okay.
Hey, we did
That's not too
good.
bad. That's not too bad.
Wasn't last place.
There's okay.
I play a
That
golf
sounds
tournament
like
every year, and it's like
50%.
as long as we don't end up in last place, like
No, you were
we
not
did
last
okay.
place. I can tell you
That
that.
sounds like the 50% range. If we were in 5th place, 10 teams
How many
playing,
teams?
that sounds right.
7.
Oh damn!
We were down there then. That's
It feels like way more teams when there's that many people in
Yeah,
there.
not everyone that was there was playing.
that sounds like the F range for sure. Okay, well,
It was
D
it was
minus.
there was a lot of really good teams this week. Like the people in the back, they play every week, and like there's an engineer and like a history buff.
listen
and-
to Michael just coddle our feelings right now. David Belmont, why don't you
We're
come
taking
play?
him next
Why
time.
don't you come play with us next week?
Yeah, he's a
Oh,
brainiac.
man. He's pretty good.
He's
Tell me
smart.
if you're bringing a brainiac, and I'll bring it. You know what I mean?
No,
Like, 'cause
absolutely
I
not.
dumb shit
No, I'm never
down for the
gonna tell
Buzz
you.
East.
Nope. We just want to win.
You
We're
need
not
to
going to
dumb
tell you.
again.
I know.
I'm just gonna.
Whoa, she just keeps
How
pulling them
much
out.
money is in your boobs?
Wow, $15
Michael's
at the
taking
moment.
$20 out of her boobs just now.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't have pocket. I never have pockets, and
Well,
people
it
hand
makes
you
sense.
tips, and
Oh,
so
I
you
would
just
stuff it.
yeah.
You're good.
No,
Wow.
no more is gonna come out. I hope.
We'll see.
So I wrote the book in 24 days.
Okay, you wrote it in 24?
Which was how long
I
ago?
love- thank you
This
for
last
setting
spring.
it up.
Couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
I honestly am so bad with honestly everything either happened last week or like 5 years ago. Like I don't have a good gauge.
Oh, so it's like
for
the other
time.
day. That was 2 years ago for like.
Yes,
That'll
it's
work.
just me. I can't do it. I can't.
That's okay. Well, some people can't.
So I finished the book. And
day.
the other day. No, it was a few years. It was I officially published it just over a year ago.
Okay.
So
What's that?
before your dad passed. I'm
Before
sorry.
my dad
okay,
passed.
timeline.
No,
I just had to get that right.
that's the timeline. I finished the book
Okay.
and then I did everything right. I went to publishers. I went to agents. I had a lot of interest.
You're answering the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
What the process is like. Thank you, Michael, for knowing. I don't.
So, but there was a couple things holding it back. It's almost impossible to get published now or get an agent if you're not somebody.
Right.
They need something to sell. And so I have an agent who is not officially my agent, but he helps me. And he's like, you need to get your social media following up. You need to do this. You need to do that. And he's the one that first suggested, why don't you self-publish?
And what is up? What do they want you to have? 10,000? 5,000?
Yeah. He wanted my Twitter. My Twitter's at $3,000 right now.
Okay.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big
I
What
like
is
none.
it? What's it at?
at the girl Michael on Twitter.
There we go. I'm gonna go.
Again,
I'm gonna
if you're
I think I have, like,
related
10.
to me in any way, please do not follow me on Twitter. There's
Okay.
a lot of obscene shit on there. Yeah.
Fuck.
So, and he
Okay.
wanted an Instagram presence, which I didn't have. I'm working on that.
Okay.
He wanted, but he was the first one that was like, why don't you self-publish? You know, when you self-publish, you can get as far as you try to get. And if it's a good product, you can get pretty far. And I was thinking about it, and I got another rejection, and I started writing the second one.
When you self-publish...
Second book?
Yeah, there's a second book. It's about halfway done now.
Oh, okay.
It's called I
You-
Should Have Married Rich.
Okay. Another great name. I love both
I
titles.
should
Thank
read
you.
that one.
Yes, you should.
We're gonna...
It's a joke. Honey. That's a joke.
I could get... I was a good bet. If you were going to bet on someone to get rich.
I bet on
I
you
would bet.
always.
I feel like
Actually.
you could get rich. I
Yeah,
think
I
you could
bet
get
on
there.
you.
Thank you,
Always.
Michael.
I know.
Katie's recording me. Now that Michael's giving me attention.
I said it before her, you fucking dick.
For the record, she did say it first.
You can listen
It's
back
literally
to it,
on
Pecker.
tape. Do we call it tape when it's like this?
I don't know. Recording.
It's on a digital file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MP3.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting.
Someday I'll get around to editing these and posting them.
Do you need a beer? I'm by the fridge.
If you don't mind. I hate my guests
my
to be the
gosh.
one grabbing it.
Oh no! I'm happy to do it.
I'm happy to let this podcast run forever, actually. This is the most fun I've
We only
had
have like 3 beers left, so
in a while.
there's
So
a little vodka left.
I'm
though.
very flattered. So, after a bunch of rejections, I looked into self-publishing, which is, by the way, Amazon, if you're listening, way too fucking easy.
okay.
But self-publishing, a monkey could literally do it.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the first edition of my book, there's a few of them out there still, is jank as fuck. I goofed up everything. It's only printed on 1 page. The cover is heinous. It's too small and blurry to actually read.
This is an addition to.
That's the first edition of what
Edition.
First edition.
Okay.
My friend saw that I'd done it and is much more gifted. My friend, the incredibly, can I give her some plugs here?
Yeah, please.
The incredibly talented Haley Knighton of Horror Addicts. You can find them on YouTube at Horror Addicts. And she herself is an aspiring writer and an editor and just a brilliant, brilliant person. She's been my best friend since we were 14 years old.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
And she was like, hey, I kind of designed you a better cover.
So to our 12 listeners out there, please.
There's more than that.
Do your job and go.
If you like
check
horror,
this lady out.
if you like horror, they have one of the best horror channels on YouTube. They're getting huge. Actually, they're part of the horror family with Eli Roth.
Perfect.
And they do really, really cool reviews on horror movies. And they put a lot of effort into it.
That's awesome.
It is cool. I'm not a horror guy, so it's like hard
I'm
for me.
not either.
My kids are in some of their videos, and they get killed in every video. It's kind of awesome.
Okay.
So she gives me the new cover, and then I realize the mistakes I've made with you use a Kindle publisher suite to publish, and the mistakes I've made, I rectify those. So the second edition of the book is actually readable. And I had I'm so lucky to have all of these wonderful people in my life who support me so much. And I sold, I believe, just that first day of the jank copy, I sold like 22 copies.
Wow.
And then I told everyone, no, wait. Don't buy the jank copy. There's a new one out. And I think that first week I sold physical copies like 50 or 70 or something like that. And then digital copies, I sold over 100.
Good for you.
And as of a couple weeks ago when I checked, I've sold over 600 copies. Okay. And I'm just blown the fuck away.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
I can't believe I've sold that many.
That's so cool.
I mean, if you look at the reviews on Amazon, it's all my aunties, like my very sweet.
Perfect. Those are the people that should be writing those reviews, though. That's great.
They should not have
So
read
can
it.
you do another publish or reach out to publishers for that book and be like,
Absolutely.
hey, I've sold this many
You're
copies.
allowed to shop it around still.
Yes.
Okay.
And like my goal is for Netflix to find it because I am a big fat sellout.
Netflix is so huge right now.
I
They're
just
crazy.
want to get Netflix money and someone make the movie.
Yeah, no, you're speaking to my heart right now.
Yeah,
so
that's all I want in life.
Is there a way? Can you just contact Netflix?
I don't know. I've contacted enough. I'm sick of reaching out and getting rejections. So now
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Maybe I'll take some lessons.
No, I write something that I feel good about sending. And as soon as I feel good about sending it, I will send it to anyone. So I asked several giant comedians recently if they would hop on a podcast. And did get a percentage of responses, all of which said no, but I think I got responses based on, like, I wrote something that I felt good about sending. The subject line on the email was coattails.
Yeah, you read that to me at Wally's, and that was brilliantly written.
It's just like, hey, no, of course there's no reason you should ever give me the time of day to do this, but
especially on our own podcast. That's
our stupid little thing.
But
I love
this is
like,
what we're doing.
I self-degrade, but I do this because I love it. I love talking to people. I love talking to you. This is so cool.
This is every white dude's dream.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no,
I'm very white, and I am mostly a dude. So.
And you guys, you know Joe. And
yes,
I can't stress enough how much I love that human being.
Mm-hmm. Wait, which Joe?
So for the listeners out there, I'm talking about Joseph John Sanchez III. You can find him at JJS_III on Twitter. or Joe John
You've
Art.
seen him do his comedy.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
Yeah, no,
his
have
art,
it. He's
his
the
art
funniest.
is the words with a bajillion words around it, and it's really
his
I
art
really
is
like
incredible.
His art.
Sorry.
I love his comedy. I love
art. Totally
everything
blanking.
about him. And the first time we hung out, we met at Radar Station, and I think we started doing comedy around the same time. I think.
You were a little before him.
Was I? We've argued about that, and I'm like, we think we started the same night. We're not 100% sure.
No, you were like a week or two, I think, before him, because you
Okay.
came and then he came, and I was like, did they come together?
No,
He must have
we
followed.
you know, like the fruit fly.
No,
and
yeah.
the, you know,
You
we found each other, and the first time we hung out, I was like, we're gonna go get a drink after this. He's like, oh, for sure. And he said the nicest thing I've ever heard ever. And he goes, if I ever do a podcast, you're the person I'll do a podcast with. I'm like, oh,
That's fucking awesome.
that means so much to me. It's everyone's dream. Everyone, I don't know if you understand how much people talk about doing a podcast. Literally everyone I know talks about, like, I'm going to do a podcast. You're actually fucking doing it, man.
Well, this is easy
That's
to do.
amazing.
It
is not easy to do.
is this is an you mentioned it already. This is the oversaturated white guy market. Because they're not real popular in comedy anymore. So
we talked about a podcast for a year.
Right.
We talked about it for a year. I had a friend and I pretty much practiced for a year. Brian
Yeah.
DeShazo, shout out. Everyone knows him
Everyone
by now.
knows
He's
Brian.
been on several of these. He and I sat in... There's a very small garage building out behind this house that we would sit and smoke cigarettes in and record fake podcasts on phones. Just to try it. And the actual technical side of it, the steps, what's funny is it seemed like a barrier, and I say this to anyone honestly who's interested in doing this. It seemed like a barrier to me to actually get into it. It's like 2 or 3 steps. If you want to have your website, you already know where to do that. You do that at Squarespace or Wix or wherever you want to do it. The website's very easy. I use Libsyn. Here's the nuts and bolts of this podcast. I use Libsyn. It's Liberated Syndication. You pay them
$22
I think I pay them,
a month.
Yeah, Katie knows
That's
exactly
it?
because
Okay.
she watches the bills. It's more than I should. You can if you don't put a ton of content out, you can actually pay less than that.
Yeah, because I think I paid like $10 for my website.
Sure, no, that's a website.
Well,
That's a different thing.
We pay Wix and
I think I
pay.
pay 3 different people to
I
put
think
this
we're
podcast
we're
out.
about $40 a month. That's all.
That's
Yeah.
not. That's
No.
not.
For your if
yeah.
this is your passion, if this is your hobby, if this is your passion
Yeah.
project, it's about $40 to $50 a month. I pay the website, I pay the podcast hosting service. You put it up, you have to edit it. You can do it for free on Audacity, just like we do.
Okay.
And you can put as much time into editing it as you want to, and then you put it up, and it goes. Once you make the links, all the connections from your Liberated Syndication page, it goes everywhere you want it to.
Yep.
It's really not hard. I would love everyone to do a podcast. I'm stoked that I'm for the second right now doing the one in Wenatchee. I'd love to grow it, but I don't really have like a famine mentality on whether or not anyone else did one. I'd listen to yours. I'd listen to Joe's. Anyone who wanted to do one, I'd be stoked on. I run out of podcasts every week. It's all I listen to.
Me too.
It's all I listen to.
and
I have the ones that I subscribe to.
What do you listen to every day?
So I'm a 30-year-old white male.
Joe Rogan.
Libertarian, yeah. So I of course listen because I listen to Rogan.
I'm sorry, I had
all the time.
fun. I'm gonna go get my
Okay.
Uber. And
But
no,
I'd
I'm
love to
kidding.
tell you. I'd love to tell you about podcasts that you should listen to. I'll
Yeah,
open
go
my
ahead.
page. I'm a Bert fan. I listen to Bert's podcast. I listen to Ari Shafir's podcast called Skeptic Tank. Do you know Ari?
You'd like
Comedian that you would love.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Okay.
All right.
This is we're on Real Talk already. Boom. Comedian that you would love. I do Bill
Mom's
Burr's
House.
podcast. I do Joey Diaz podcast. Do you know Joey Diaz?
No.
Oh my god.
Oh my
I
gosh,
just-
you're not in comedy if you don't know Joey Diaz.
Okay, here's the deal. I am a single mother in
Yeah.
suburban Washington.
Look at that red. That's like
that only started doing comedy like 9 months ago. I don't get
Actually,
out
I
a
wouldn't know who
lot.
Joey Diaz unless my husband listened to him.
Thank you. I'm not a
so.
comedy snob or anything.
But you
I
did
never
know
get
Doug
out-
Stanhope.
comedy.
He's another one that
I
I
do
catch
know
every
Doug
week.
Stanhope.
Stanhope's incredible. I listen to his every week.
If they're not comedians on the Daily Zeitgeist, I probably don't know them. I listen to the Daily Zeitgeist every day.
You know Bert Kreischer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the shirt guy.
I listen
Yeah.
to.
Story time.
2 years ago today, we saw and met Bert Kreischer.
Is it that? I thought we saw him on the 8th.
I don't know. I sent you my 2-year memory today.
Oh, okay. Maybe you posted.
That's really
That's
cool.
all I
Was he
know.
cool in
Facebook.
person?
He was fun. He was
funny. It wasn't like we met him and had like 5 minutes. It was like Luke took his shirt off. We took a picture with him and like.
You met him. That's
Yeah.
officially meeting someone.
Yeah, we
Oh,
touched
it's one of my
skin.
favorite pictures.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
It's
But-
put together.
Joey Diaz, Irish Fair 2. I can
I will
actually
definitely-
say you would like.
No, I'm
I
gonna
will
send you.
definitely
I'm gonna
check
send
those
you. I'm gonna
out.
send you a couple.
I
links.
listen to the Daily Zeitgeist. I listen to the Bon Appetit podcast.
I actually don't listen to podcasts.
Oh,
so.
I'm obsessed with the Bon Appetit videos. Does anyone watch
Cash.
the Bon Appetit?
No, I
Oh my
don't.
God. No, it's so good for your mental health. Like
Okay.
this is for you two and
Yep.
this is for the listeners. The Bon Appetit videos on YouTube are the most wholesome and beautiful and wonderful things on earth.
Okay.
Like they've literally helped my mental health more than pharmaceuticals, drugs, sex, actual therapy. Like they're the best. There's this man named Brad Leone that has like all the characters on all the chefs that present and do videos are amazing, but Brad Leone does one called It's Alive where he ferments things.
Okay.
And he's the human personification of a Labrador retriever. He has ADHD and
I
he
love it.
misspikes words and he can't talk. And it's who gave this guy a YouTube show, but it works. It's so brilliant. He's amazing. And Claire and you have to watch them. They're the best. And there's a podcast, the Bon Appetit podcast, that it's less about the YouTube stuff and more about the food. I love to cook. I have a passion for cooking.
I do too.
And I
He
like to
cooks
challenge
cycling.
myself.
This is inspiring me. I'm gonna write this down.
I would highly recommend.
This is inspiring me.
No, yeah, do the
Two.
videos because the videos are great. The podcast
Sounds
is
good.
like the expert mode.
Okay.
And then
Well,
I
okay.
listen to the Did either of you listen to the Bechdel cast by chance?
No.
I listen to like 103.9 KWC.
Oh, okay,
and
cool beans.
KKRV.
Right on.
No, this is
I'm
inspiring
a
me
music
to have
person.
a podcast
I'm not a
with
podcast.
like
I'm a
7
music.
people who listen to podcasts,
No,
all
yes.
sitting and arguing which podcast everyone
I've
should listen
thought about
to.
that because
This is
you don't listen to things until someone like really convinces you to listen to them, or you were already part of their fandom. I listened to the Daily
it's like-
Zeitgeist because I was a huge fan of the Cracked videos.
Oh, wow. See, I don't know any of these.
The Cracked videos were fucking amazing. Cracked.com. They're the people who do the listicles, like 7 reasons why Home Alone sucks. You know,
Oh.
that was Cracked.com. Then they had videos, and they were brilliant. They were some of the funniest, most amazing things. Jack O'Brien was the editor. He's on the Daily Zeitgeist. Dan O'Brien was one of the video presenters. He now writes for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And he has a podcast with Soren Bowie called Quick Question. And that's they don't listen to it daily because it only comes out like twice a month. But that's another must listen to. The Bechdel cast, for my dear listeners who don't know, examines movies from a feminist point of view.
Oh.
The Bechdel test. Are either of you familiar with the Bechdel test? It's
No,
amazing.
you're still in uncharted waters.
Okay, the Bechdel
I love
test is a fantastic test that we can apply to media. And if it passes, it has 2 characters who are named, who identify as female, who have more than 2 lines of dialogue between them that aren't about a man. 90% of movies do not pass.
Is it rare?
It's very rare for a movie to actually pass the
Interesting.
Bechdel test.
Oh, interesting.
And it's such low criteria. It says a lot about the
No, it
media
seems
that
like
we
it should be
consume.
easy. It does seem like
It should be easy. It's just 2 women who have a conversation about something other than a dude. And almost nothing passes. Even movies that you would consider to be fairly feminist or fairly women forward don't pass.
Yeah.
And so the Bechdel test examines movies.
Do you know any that do? Can you cite me any that?
I
pass
remember
that?
Thelma and Louise passed.
Okay,
Fuck yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, it seems
Charlie's
like that should-
Angels surprisingly
Yeah.
passed.
Well,
Not everything was about Charlie.
Yeah,
it
that's the thing.
And it barely passed though. That's the thing. Like
Two.
actually
What was the criteria? 2 lines.
2 characters that identify as female
Yes.
with 2 lines of dialogue between them that aren't about a man.
oh.
And that barely passed. They
Barely
didn't have
passed.
one back and forth.
Barely
What about,
passed because they
Me,
talk about their
Marie
boyfriends
Antoinette,
a lot.
or like
Oh.
Home Alone doesn't pass. That was one they did recently.
Okay.
That's why it's on my head.
Christmas movie.
Man,
And, well, and, like the mother, like they think it doesn't even pass because like the ticket agent, they're talking about her son.
What about Frozen?
I don't know if they did Frozen. I don't remember that episode. I'm having trouble thinking of what did pass. I know lots of like movies have passed, but that they've done.
Yeah.
But,
Interesting.
I'm more focused on the ones that don't because it's usually surprising.
Sure.
Right.
And then they just talk about like movie from the lens of, is this woman forward? Is this LGBTQ friendly? What could the filmmaker have done to make this more inclusive of a film? Mm-hmm. And that's stuff I care about. I care about media that is inclusive, and we don't have to follow the rules we used to have. You can still be funny. You can be funny as fuck.
It's like Littleton, Colorado, and they
talk about Katie's gross Hallmark movie.
No. Katie, I on Friday treated myself to 7 different holiday movies on Amazon Prime. I don't know if they were specifically Hallmark, but they were Hallmark related. Like the same,
Every Saturday, I pretty much sit on that couch and watch Hallmark.
I think that's really, really cute and
It's
sweet.
just every
And
Christmas.
I was
It's
trying
Christmas.
to sick Michael on Katie, and she's being overly nice right now.
I do, and I always know how they
I get
end.
it.
Like fuck it, but
No,
it's
I
like
get
the
it.
holiday season where I can live vicariously through someone's romantic life. Like,
I grew up atheist.
no offense,
And
Oh,
then,
so
like I have no Christmas memories. My family didn't celebrate really. And, I have kids now and I kind of try to phone it in for them, but I did. I spent Friday night like trying to get into some sort of mystical holiday spirit, and mostly just reminded me that I'm never going to find love and I'm going to die alone.
well,
Oh,
no,
shit.
but no. For me though, it's like
about perspective, I guess.
I guess for me, it's like the Christmas season and everyone's happy and their families are gathered. And like for me, my family always gathered at Christmas. We gathered like every other day. But, Christmas was special for us, and it was really special to my grandparents. And I'm Danish, but, my heritage is Danish, and they are very Christmassy. And
Yeah, no, for sure.
no,
have
I
you
just
been to
love
Solvang?
Hallmark.
This is the foil.
I've
of
never
your...
been to Denmark.
No, Solvang is
Or-
in California.
Oh, well, I've never been there.
It's
Yes.
There you go.
Oh.
Solvang is California's Leavenworth. It's a little
Oh,
Danish
okay.
village.
I think I've heard of this, actually.
And they have the best butter cookies on earth. And it's the closest thing as a child I got to snow. They would produce some fake snow in Solvang. Sometimes Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead would have snow.
Main Street USA Disneyland has fake snow.
Yes, but my parents never took me to Anaheim in the winter.
Have you been to Disneyland?
Like 400 times.
Okay.
I grew up in
perfect.
SoCal. Like,
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure. Like, I'm a big Disney
I
fanatic.
hate Disney so
Oh
much.
my god, I love Disney.
No.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But to me, that's like another
Well,
magical
and again,
thing.
You
Like
grew up in this
everything
like
is just,
really
like-
functional, beautiful thing where your parents weren't constantly doing drugs.
I did
and-
grow up in a very functional family.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to
Sorry.
apologize. That's the dream, right?
But back to Hallmark. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Hallmark, and
And I think that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you. That's
totally.
That's really
I actually
cool.
like always want to go to Leavenworth to like have that
I
feeling.
hate
and
Leavenworth
we
so
hate it
much.
too. We don't go,
no,
especially
nothing
this
against,
time of
like,
year with like the
tourists.
2
Please
hours
spend your
to get
money
there.
in Leavenworth. I have nothing realistically
Personally against it.
No, it's just the traffic and I don't have the holiday
Even
spirit.
get up there.
Yeah, no, did you guys
They need like a
Lord.
train system or something.
there needs to be they need to figure something out.
trolley or
The
something.
traffic, there's no parking.
No, it's
You know,
ridiculous.
I'm a single mom and I want to give my kids your growing up. I want them to have the things I didn't have.
I didn't go to Leavenworth though. You can do it in your own home. Trust me.
And I would love to do stuff like that. And I just think of the parking and the traffic and I go,
My dad
Nope.
hates Leavenworth, but it's definitely just like getting the tree and like being around that. But Hallmark just like lets me zone out, like makes me like escape real life. And
I get
not that I have like a ton to escape from, it just lets me not think
We
about work
all
or
want to escape.
finance or whatever it is.
Yeah, for me, it's
you
the Bon
know.
Appetit videos. Yeah.
Boom.
We all have our thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think meditation probably plays in there somewhere. I've never tried to learn it, but I bet it would do the same thing.
Probably.
I only hear good things about meditation.
For
I've
sure.
never tried. I tried
You
to
never
fall
tried?
asleep.
You never
Meditation?
tried?
No.
But I'm
No,
not like
really, no.
But meditation can be like,
Give it a try sometime.
yeah.
I probably should. I tried
I'm
to
a
do
holiday
hypnotism
person
video.
in general. Like, I'll take any holiday
I
that
tried
I
to
love.
do a
Or
hypnotism.
season. Sorry.
I tried to do. No, I was just trying to finish my sentence.
Sorry.
Babe, you keep talking in 3, 2, 1.
Okay,
But
okay.
I tried to do
I like
this
the seasons.
hypnotism video the other night, and I fell asleep really, really good. And I don't know.
That you meditated. No, even if you fall asleep,
No,
that's still meditation.
It was a hypnotist.
Oh.
I tried to be hypnotized on my way to sleep.
But it worked.
I fell asleep.
But
That's
the-
all I can tell you.
There
was
As far as
probably
whether I'm
a
more
month ago.
motivated.
Yeah.
I love to put on the spa and relaxation radio on Pandora and fall asleep to that. And there was one night where I just really needed it. Luke was like, "You can do it." He laid next to me, and it was so like we fell asleep holding hands, and it was like
gross.
Doesn't it sound
totally
That's
so like
disgusting.
we never do this.
How fucking dare you?
But
Yeah.
he totally relaxed to the music, and it worked. And it wasn't stupid Frasier or something on the background.
Did she just disparage
Thank you.
Frasier
Thank
in
you.
Washington State?
I didn't, but it's like the fifth time in our marriage. Every winter, he turns it
I watch
on,
Frasier once a year.
starts it
Me too.
again.
Holy
I watched
shit! Once
Frasier
a year.
once a year.
Yeah,
I
no, it was
know
my show with my
that.
dad.
All the way
And,
through,
Yeah,
I
all the
watched
way
I
through.
love
Even
it.
the
I'm
shitty
not
last
saying
season.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't love it. I'm just saying that it's not relaxing to fall asleep to because they're always in a frantic.
But they're so drony.
No, they're dramatic and
Even at their
overdone.
most dramatic, though, they're like very.
But it's like I'm trying to fall
I get it.
asleep
I
and I
don't-
just
I-
hear the
I
hype
wish
coming
I
and
could
I get
it's
that.
like,
I
I
get
wish
that.
I could be so bougie. I wish I could be as bougie as
wish
Frasier
so
or
much.
Niles.
So much to have the financial freedom
How
to give a
cool.
shit the way they give a shit about anything.
was
Yeah.
not as expensive as my Swiss cheese or whatever.
But I get that. I can't fall asleep to any. Like I need like silence and cold and dark and nothing. Even like my dog and my cat like jumping on my bed. Like I can't.
I'm
fall asleep.
always music, and then I turned to spa music probably before we got married, like right before we got married. That all went away when we got married.
You
unless
have to watch
he's
the
not
TV.
home.
Won't do it. Jim.
iPad.
As soon as you get married, you no longer do it to porn.
Single life, bitch.
Not me.
I do whatever I want.
Born, but I was music.
So Frasier is almost as good as pornography.
I-
That's
like-
what I'm trying to say right now. That's what I'm trying to say. Is Frasier is almost as good as pornography.
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay. To give you erection, and you just
I don't know.
That's
I
crazy.
get
Not needed. Erection not needed. It's fine. It's
Oh,
It was my thing with my dad, so I don't want to like sexualize it.
yeah. Good,
But
good idea.
I did have like feelings for Kelsey Grammer for sure. I think, and like
Is that the actor's name? I'm sorry.
That's Frasier.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Frasier.
okay.
Kelsey Grammer.
Sorry, I'm not like.
I went back and watched Cheers. I'd watched Frasier several times.
Yeah, no, once a year.
Already I fell in love
And then
with it.
finally did Cheers.
I did go back and watch
I
Cheers.
can't go back and
Can't
watch
do it?
Cheers. No, I did
You
a
gotta
few
get.
episodes.
You gotta get it. You gotta get it. No,
I don't want to
like,
ruin it because like
It
it's
doesn't ruin it. In
going back on Roseanne ruined it for me.
Oh, really?
Really?
Like, again, yeah, guys, I'm like really
But
hyper
Cheers doesn't
liberal.
like.
So watching things through this lens, it's hard to go back to the things we used to love.
Cheers doesn't extend
Well,
Frasier.
Sam-
It introduces
Sam's
Frasier and
insane.
him and like.
Sam would be insane. in
Sam would be
Cheers.
a sex
Yeah.
offender.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Well, he's just a white man from.
Just take the lens. Just
No,
take
I can't, Luke. I've chosen my path.
Everyone has to look through some lens. We all do.
Okay. Actually, I rest my case, Your Honor. Honestly, I have nothing else to say.
I'm gonna need you to grab me a beer.
Oh, do you want me to grab it?
No, make Luke. Let's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
he
fine.
doesn't have much room back there.
He's fine.
Okay, here we
All
go.
right.
It's gonna be great.
He's the man. He can do it.
I wouldn't know. I've hadn't had one in 8 years.
He's good at it. Thank you.
So what else did we want to talk about?
Okay.
So let's plug your.
Oh, there was. I just want to finish the thing about the book. I self-published the
Please.
book.
Please.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
And it was a really meaningful moment because I self-published it, and when I finally had a decent copy in my hands, I was able to hand it to my dad, who was very sick at that time, and look and be like, Dad, I finished something. I didn't finish high school. I didn't finish college. I didn't finish my marriage. I didn't finish that song I wrote. I didn't finish shit in my life. And I was able to be like, Daddy, I did it. And if you look at the first page, the acknowledgments, the first line is thanking you and Mom. And it was powerful and meaningful. And he went to go open it. And I took it away from him because God forbid that man read that book. But I sent a copy to my grandfather. I was just so insanely proud of what I had done.
That's awesome.
I'm so glad he got to see me do that. And then comedy was another thing. It was something I'd always wanted to try, and he was still alive, and I got to come home and be like, Dad, I did it. And you know what? I was really fucking funny.
Yeah.
And I loved it, and it felt good. It's better than drugs. It's better than sex. It feels so fucking good.
Invigorating. Was Radar your first place to do comedy?
Not technically. I had done it. Do you guys remember when Upper East Side Coffee had an open mic?
No. Where's that?
It was on Grant Road.
The one by the Mexican restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it as the second coffee shop or whatever it became.
She had it on Grant Road, and she had an open mic there, and then she moved it to Valley Mall Parkway, and she had an open mic there.
Okay.
And every year on the anniversary of my mom's death, I crossed something off my bucket list. My mom died tragically young, and she didn't get to do shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she banged John Denver. But
right.
Like,
in one of your...
That's my favorite bit.
Yeah.
But like she just didn't live the life she wanted to live. She was severely dyslexic, and she thought she was dumb when she wasn't. She wasn't dumb at all, but she had reading disability that, you know, back then they didn't help you.
Sure.
They just said you were dumb. So she had an 8th grade education. The only job she ever felt like she was qualified to do was working in packing sheds and dealing drugs. And, you know, she didn't live her full potential because she was actually a brave and amazing and ballsy and crazy awesome woman, and she died way too soon. Alcoholism took her, and she didn't get to live to her full potential. So on the anniversary of her death every year, I cross something off on my bucket list. It gets hard because, you know, I can't lose 150 pounds to go skydiving tomorrow, so not crossing that one off. I can't go to India tomorrow. Shit, what am I crossing off? And one of them was do stand up. So I did stand up at the open mic at the Eastmont Coffee or the Upper East Side Coffee on Valley Mall Parkway.
Okay.
How'd it go?
Not great and not terrible.
People not looking to listen to jokes.
Yeah, it was like definitely like the kind of thing with like white dudes and guitars and poets.
Yep.
And no comedians. And I went up.
White dudes again in there.
Yeah. I have a nemesis, Luke.
Okay.
Anyway, just, you know, how much I love them white dudes with guitars. So
right after Michael finishes the story, I'm gonna bust my guitar out in the corner here to play
Christ,
a
that is
quick
my
song.
nightmare.
He's not going to do it, but that's okay. Keep going.
My favorite human on earth was my father, who was a white dude with a guitar. So come on. So yeah, I told this joke about how turkeys. It's this old ass joke. It's the first joke I ever did. I did a bit about how turkeys are genetically engineered where their breasts are 55% larger than they used to be, and turkeys can no longer reproduce on their own.
Oh.
And after hearing that statistic, all I can think about is there is a man whose job it is to artificially inseminate turkeys.
Right.
And no matter how bad my day is, no matter how hard it gets, at least it's not my job to fuck a turkey.
Yeah.
And I do this whole bit, and I had to have said turkey fucker about 25 times. And it was fine. People laughed. They weren't there for comedy, so it was a weird crowd. I got laughs. Weirdly, there was some like wine moms in the corner that were not about the open mic at all, and they were laughing their heads off.
Great.
Yeah.
So I was like, I won the wine moms. That's what I wanted.
That's fun.
The best mom.
Yeah. And
That's fun.
I finished my set, and you know, it was fine. It was what it was. And I sit down, and this next man is this very diminutive short man with a guitar who happened to be white. And he comes up and he gets on the microphone. He's like, "Hi, guys. I'm going to sing you a couple songs. A lot of you know me. I'm Pastor Tom." And I realize that I have said turkey fucker in front of a man of God 25 times.
Right.
And my head hits the table, and it gets a bigger laugh than any joke I had told that night. So that was my first experience with comedy. That was a couple years before the radar station. I had tried making an open mic work at Buzz East for about 6 months, and it failed miserably. And I would do comedy at there, but there was no crowd. It was the 3 guys at the bar, those same 3 fucking guys.
Of course.
Seem like nice gentlemen.
They are. They're lovely, and sometimes they would even laugh.
Comedy,
if I got a laugh out of them, it meant a lot to me. And I was doing that on and off for a few months, but it wasn't real comedy. There was no audience. I started dating a man. This is fantastic. I started dating a man who calls himself an amateur comedian because he's done 1 open mic night and 1 thing.
What, in town?
He's from Moses Lake, and he shall stay anonymous.
Up and coming.
Want a name right now, though, Michael.
And so I arrange an open mic he's coming to visit me, and I arrange an open mic, and I kind of stack the deck, and I get a lot of people to come because we're both going to do sets. And my set killed. It did. It was funny. I did Turkey Fucker, and I did a couple of new things, and I was like ready. I had a good 7 minutes that was like ready to go. And I had stacked the deck, so it's mostly my friends in the audience. So it was funny. And he went up, and his whole premise for his big set, the big joke in his set, was that he got so drunk after the Seahawks lost that he peed in a red box at the Walmart.
Okay, well, first of all, I have a joke similar. Okay, continue.
And he fucked up the premise by not mentioning that the red box was at the Walmart. So as he continues on with his bit about the disguises that he does to go to Walmart now, it's not making sense to the audience, and he's not getting laughs.
Okay.
He fucked up.
Right.
And he kind of saved it, but he didn't bomb because they were my friends and they knew I was dating him, and they were really nice and they were giving him pity laughs, but it wasn't funny because he fucked up the premise. We've all done it.
Oh, I have a recording full of pity laughs.
Fantastic.
I do. It's from this show that you're going to do here soon. Plug to Michael
really?
Lee Miller doing a cold winter night show
I
at
am.
Pack here in Wenatchee.
Yeah.
Is that the coming one?
It's the February one. We've got tons of time to get your tickets. I'm going to be with Amy Miller, who is on a podcast I love. Back to podcasts I love, called Who's Your God?
Yeah.
And I love that podcast. I love it. Absolute bits. They bring on comedians to talk about their spiritual journeys.
Perfect.
And it's really good, and she is super funny, and it was so incredible to me that this is my life now. I comment on it. I'm like, Amy Miller's gonna be in Wenatchee, fucking rad, guys, this is amazing. And I share it, and not even like an hour later, Alex Haley's like, hey, you want 5 minutes on that show?
Perfect. So,
and I'm like, what, are you kidding me?
So February
15th.
Go see Amy Miller
at
and
Numerica
go see
and Michael Miller.
Amy Miller.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
Tickets on, I'm sure, packed up, whatever they are.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I should know that.
Call Alex Haley. Nobody cares.
No, stop.
Whatever.
Oh
wait, you should
link
just cut
in
what I
the
just
show
said.
description here tonight. I'll do that for them.
Thank you. I don't
Did
know
you hear
much
what I
about
just
it.
said?
What advertising, Alex? What advertising? I'll put the link in the show description here this evening.
Cool.
Perfect. See, so where? Nope. Stop. Where were we?
Yeah.
That's
Oh, so
blessing.
the open mic with the boyfriend at the time, though.
Yes, that's where we were.
The next.
Michael? This is.
I just want to tell this
Sorry, I
goddamn
had to put
story.
my tongue in my mouth.
This
there
is
for a minute.
Michael's. This probably doesn't matter. She's doing so good.
I'm trying so hard here.
Oh my god.
He dumped me the next day.
Oh, fuck him.
And he said I was insecure and full of myself, which is a contradiction in terms, Lance.
Whoa.
And I
We're gonna
figured
find him on Facebook. What's
no, I would not.
Oh, okay.
He's not worth it. And I figured it out. It was because I was funnier than him. He bombed. I did
Right.
not.
It sounds like he described you as he viewed himself
I
really
think
easily.
I don't know. I don't know what his damage was. I'm whatever. It is whatever. But like
That's so fun.
the next week, I was like, you know what? I'm funnier than him, and I'm gonna do more. And I'm gonna go to that big open mic at the radar station. They keep meaning to check. Thursdays were really hard for me. At that point, my dad required so much care that if I wasn't there, I was having to pay someone to be there.
Oh.
And it was hard for me to get help on Thursdays. And so it was a big thing. Like I kept meaning to check out the radar station open mic. And I just couldn't do it. And then I became revenge motivated to do so.
Yeah, you did awesome. You fucking showed up and you took the show. Like,
it was such an amazing
you showed up and
experience.
literally, I don't think there was ever a time you probably didn't go on stage. I mean, Luke and I missed a little bit of time, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a ton. It was a little bit, but it was enough. And I'm sure you were on every week. And
Not
I know
every
you
week.
definitely,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I know you stepped up and did hosting and
Yeah, hosting
stuff
was
like
a
that.
trip. I enjoyed that a lot.
Oh, it was an easy pick that there were good hosts of everyone who tried early.
Yeah, I mean, people really stepped up, like I was saying
it's
earlier,
Lauren and
and
Michael easily that were the good. I mean,
and,
it's
it,
just-
and I mean to do
hosting's
it.
a thing, for sure in
Yeah.
of itself. And
I mean to do it
shout
every
out to trivia
week
night,
or
like
whatever.
even that, like, wow, you're a naturally gifted host for
Aw,
sure.
Yes.
thank you.
I mean, that's easy.
Thank
to
you.
say.
I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
I
Ready?
think we plugged everything I wanted to plug.
Boom. Then, okay, everyone make lightning noises. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm.
This is the lightning round. All of
That's
those
what
were
mine was.
terrible
That's
lightning
not
noises.
This is the part I was really scared of, and I don't have a drink. Okay.
I don't have.
No.
I don't have techno playing in your ears right now, but I'll edit it in afterwards.
Okay.
Would you rather be covered in fur or scales?
Fur.
Okay. Would you rather live?
Is the
in-
fur dyeable?
No, I don't know.
First of all, I can't believe you picked it because scales are way better armor. But okay. You're going first.
That's what I think about.
Would you rather live in a new city every week or never be able to leave Wenatchee again?
Oh God, new city every week. Done. That's my dream.
Would you rather high five every formal greeting that you have from now on, or get a wedgie from a stranger once a month?
High five. Yeah.
Formal greeting.
Yeah. No.
Like
No.
boss, everyone,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No,
Michael A. Miller. Come
I
on,
have
we
a
know
pretty
that.
casual
yeah.
life.
This is a very easy question that I felt shitty writing. Would you fly in car or submarine?
Submarine.
Wow.
Whoa! Unexpected answer on the easy
I like
question.
it.
Okay.
I'm gonna find a giant squid.
Here's my last one. Banned from ever getting delivery food again, or banned from ever riding an Uber again? Which is my worst question ever.
Oh, that's terrible for me. I don't drive. Well, I would have to pick no more food delivery, which would be fantastic for my waistline anyway. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with
I
that.
don't know if I can pick it, but okay, Michael's taking that one.
Well, we both
Well, I
drive,
can, dude.
so.
I can get an Uber to take me to the food,
But you can get Lyft.
Yeah.
or I lived, or yeah.
Yes.
So.
Dashing driver.
I'm looking for.
Yes, the
I'm
local
looking
business.
forward
Of,
Oh
to
wait,
the
DoorDash. I meant
which one's the local one?
dashing driver.
Okay. Alright, don't we want to
But
plug
DoorDash is what Luke works for. Sometimes.
Oh, I did not know that. Good to know.
He just does extra income.
This
This
one
little
I
extra.
edited it out. No, I'm
Dude,
I'm just kidding.
I've done much worse for extra
Show
income.
some pride.
You have to.
You ever like
Literally-
pretended to burp to get a guy
I
off?
would way rather. No, I'm gonna actually tell you something right now. I would way rather work as a sex line girlfriend.
Phone actress is the
girlfriend,
phone actress is the preferred term.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Then
for that.
deliver fast food.
Yeah.
Why? Oh my
Babe.
gosh.
We'll just put like an extra layer of sheetrock on this wall and a little bit thicker door, and you won't hear what I'm doing in here.
Yeah, that was the toughest part because I do have children.
Yeah.
And I would forget to turn my line off, and I'd
It's
have
not
to like
really about that.
run out to the shed and like.
I mean,
I don't really see the shame in
I don't see the shame in either,
delivery.
to be honest.
delivering food? Yeah, no, it's
especially.
fine.
I mean,
Yeah, I delivered pizza. I love delivering pizza.
I don't see the shame in any of it.
I'll raise my hand and
so-
say, shamefully, there are like
The thing,
4
the thing.
to 5 people in the world that I would be very upset about delivering food to their house. And other than that, I'm probably good.
Like the only person in town that I legit don't want to run into, I just saw on social media he's driving for like Uber Lyft. And I'm
Okay.
like terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. Like, I do not want to run into him. Like, not scared. Like, he's not a bad.
You like put in like a request to never have a person as the delivery?
I was on the Twitters because there is a like a Lyft driver that I don't like, and I don't not like him. He's not a bad driver. He's just he's aggressively conservative with his radio choice, and when you ask him to like turn off the Michael Medved bullshit, he's like, no, it's my car. And like, it's nothing that I want to 1-star him over, because that's his income. I don't want to fuck with someone's income. He's not a bad driver. He's not like not taking me to my house or overcharging me or anything. And the only way to not get a driver is to give them a low score.
Right.
And I like, that's a moral quandary for me, because I don't
but
want
a 5-minute ride would be
not giving someone a low score.
No, I'm never going to mess with someone's ability to make money because of a personal...
Fellow driver, I would just like to really throw out. If there's a problem you could take up with a restaurant and you have a delivery driver, don't give them a low score because of the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. People need to learn that shit.
So true. Yeah,
totally.
so true.
No, like, Panda Express was out of my stuff, and like, that's not the Uber delivery driver's fault. Uber Eats driver, you know.
Boom. Just your quick representation.
That was my lightning round. You went easy on me. I appreciate that.
I didn't.
Because you asked Lauren the most disgusting question I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, well, that was also not a question that I ever meant to ask Lauren. It was obviously well after the lightning round. And I'm happy to ask you it right now on air if you would like to.
That was a funny question that came from a family member. So
wow, your wholesome Hallmark family.
Yes, it's the one.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. They got dirty minds.
I would steal Lauren's answer. Lauren had a beautiful answer to that. Like he was like,
he did it very well.
Lauren is just such a lovely, gracious man, and it's not fair. My parents are dead, so I would give anything to see them again, even if it was fucking.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there you go.
The question is, would you... The question...
Sorry.
The question is, would you give anything to touch them again and join in that one time while they were?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
I think I'd like to leave them at rest in my mind.
Oh, man. No, I mean, as much as I'd love to see my parents again, no, I'm not joining in.
Okay, you're not going to touch them. You're just going to see them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know any better way to end this podcast right now, actually, than that question right there.
Yep.
Michael Lee Miller, you are an
amazing person.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been a blast.
Okay. Love you all.
As always.
Yeah, love you all. And as always, please remember this probably doesn't matter.